Welcome to the ProAgent Podcast, where we're either interviewing top real estate agents nationwide or breaking down the industry's best business strategies. I'm your host, Chris Hardy Jr., real estate entrepreneur. Join us as we explore the mindset, skills, strategies, and execution it takes to perform at the highest level in the industry. Hey everybody, welcome to the ProAgent Podcast, and today we have a treat for you. I'm sitting here with Ashley Diep and Patrick Coto. Both of these agents are in their second year in the business, and in 2024, they're on track to close 40 or more transactions. We're gonna take a deep dive into what's working for them. While so many agents are in a position where they're not having the success they want, I'm talking to agents on a daily basis that are either 1 year in the business, 5 years in the business, or 20 years in the business. And I'm seeing that a lot of people have uncertainty. They're not getting the volume amount. They're not getting the transaction amount that they would like. And I think that this deep dive is going to showcase what's really working for the agents that are really having the success that they want to be having in the current market. And so thank you, Patrick and Ashley, for being a part of all of this.
Super excited to be here.
Yeah, same. Happy to be here.
Awesome. So, really what I want to start this off with is most agents are lacking the regimen on a daily basis. Well, let's go backwards real quick. You both are on track to close almost 40 or more transactions this year. We're getting into the second quarter of the year. Tell me a little bit about how you feel, Patrick, about that number amount, because you're 2 years in the business. Yeah. Did you think that 2 years in you were going to be,
No, not even close.
Not even close, right? And so, how does it feel from your perspective? And what are you noticing, with your fiance, your wife, your family, all that kind of stuff? What are they seeing?
My wife, she's getting more and more happy and excited because with the baby coming soon, she doesn't have to work that much. Will be good for the next couple of months. So she's excited about that. He'll be fine. But it is exciting to have that much stuff going on, honestly.
Yeah, well, we're going to take a deep dive into what's really made this thing all happen, because there's going to be people that are watching this that are going, oh my goodness, I have kids, or my wife's pregnant, or I'm pregnant, I'm in real estate, and I really want to be in a position where I'm making the income to where maybe my wife doesn't have to work and she can take care of the kid, and there's no pressure on those kind of things. And so that's going to be a real an enlightening conversation that we're going to be having for those people, because they could be in a position, I believe, where in 90 days, 180 days, their entire game in their real estate could change to where they could be in your type of position if they just do the right things, right? Yeah. And so, outside of the fiance and you, do your friends, does anybody really know the kind of success you're having right now?
Not really. I don't talk about it that much to people.
Yeah.
And plus, they don't really understand.
Patrick is low key.
Yeah, he's a pretty low-key kind of guy.
I try to stay low-key.
and I think, the public kind of is under this impression that real estate agents are just closing deals all the time. Yeah. They don't understand that the average agent closes maybe less than 3, and that 3 average is based on everybody who's doing deals, right? Over 50% of agents are going to close 0 deals this year, right? Which is a crazy statistic. And so they don't realize. They think, oh, you're in real estate, you must be making all this commission, and they don't realize how much effort it actually takes to get to this level, right? Ashley, what about you? You're 2 years into this, coming up on your 3rd year here soon. You're on track to do these kind of units. Has it set in yet? Is it real yet?
I'm excited because I think it took to see it in fruition. And then what people don't see is that 1 year of hard work where you're not seeing anything. So when it comes in and you're seeing it steadily, I'm like, okay, it's
getting
somewhere.
We need to talk a lot about that, because that's the kind of part of the process where people are usually not willing to go through kind of the storm to make it to the beautiful day of going, oh my gosh, I got all these listings, I got deals going on, things are taking place. It's a lot of hard-ass work for a long time, and you may not see a lot of results for an extended period.
For a while. It's off and on and off, and then you're just no, we're going to make this every day.
Now, what is the reception to your family, your spouse, all this kind of stuff? Do they see, I know he's low-key, you may be a little bit more vocal about things. What are they thinking about your business right now?
I feel all they really see is you working all the time.
Yeah, they think you're a fanatic. You're a crazy.
They're you're just working, and the money you put in the bank, and they don't see that either, because you're going to save up for other projects down the line. So it's
that's right.
You're just working.
Well, in your first 2 years, especially for most agents, because both of you are full time, no kind of income at any level. You're not, serving tables at night. You're not working the weekends. You're not doing this part time to any degree, and so you really have to be in this position where you become very frugal,
Yeah.
Right. And I actually think it sets a good tone for you. So as you start making the money, it's not like you're sitting there just going to start spending it. You've actually built some good habits of going, hey, I just got to do whatever I can to get by, get in the trenches each and every single day, build my skill level up, get the momentum going. And then when the money starts coming in, it's not like you've been this person that's just been wasting away any kind of income, you know. And sometimes people have a good secondary job. And so they're in this habit of like their bills are still high, they're spending money, and then they make some real estate checks, and then it's like Cancun. Yeah. Then it's Miami, then it's this and it's that. And then they're not really keeping any of the money in. And we want to, in the future, be working on investing and buying properties and all those kind of things with you guys so that you're in a position where one day you don't have to be in the trenches and slinging real estate when you're 50 years old. You can actually be in a position where you're owning a lot of investment homes. Unless Ashley she may still want to, she'll be 93 years old like cold calling. So it'd be okay. You know? And so let's talk about, you know, I want to talk about the daily regimen that both of you have, a daily regimen, your schedule that are probably very similar in a lot of ways. However, I think that it's the missing piece for most agents because they just don't have a real schedule. They don't have a business plan. They don't have anything connecting the dots for them, right? Patrick, kind of run me through, as an agent who's on track to close 40 transactions, how many active listings do you have right now?
I have 7 active listings.
So you have 7 active listings, more coming onto the market. How many total listings have you taken this year to begin with?
11 or 12, something.
11 or 12.
Yeah.
And he's closing buyer transactions as well. How many properties do you have under contract at this very moment?
I have 3 properties under contract.
3 under contract. Some of those listings are probably going to go here pretty soon. They're just hitting the market.
Yeah, getting some offers.
Getting some offers, right?
Nice.
And so you could see, you start putting these things together. You're like, oh yeah, these guys are going to close 40 transactions or more this year, right? And so what is the regimen for you right now in terms of like, what am I doing on a daily basis very consistently from going up to going to sleep that's putting me in this prime position right now?
I always start off my day by going to the gym. Well, for the most part, I try to go to the gym before coming into the office, get there by 5:30, 5 o'clock, stay there till 6, 6:45, shower, and come straight to the office, get on the breakfast club.
Hold on. So what time do you get to the office?
7:15-ish.
Yeah. So most agents are watching this. They've never even seen an office building or been out of their bed by 7:15 in the morning unless they maybe have a kid. So you're in the office by 7:15.
Yeah. And while I'm driving to the office, I'm role playing. I'm practicing my skills before the breakfast club, which is, it helps me a lot. It gets, some rust off.
Oh, yeah. Get you warmed up.
Yeah.
And you guys don't know this, but Patrick played some professional soccer, right? What do you play?
Semi-professional.
Semi-professional. Come on, it's fine. Semi-professional, so he took it very seriously, right?
Yeah.
You played where?
I played in Spain and some of South America.
And so when you're trying to be in this position to be the best soccer player that you could be, how, what soccer player is hopping on the field fresh and not getting warmed up?
No.
You don't have a chance, right? Mm-mm. Exactly. And so that kind of mindset gets him in the business where he's like, hold on, we're going through this regimen, but we have to highlight this fact. I'm going to go ahead and role play in the Breakfast Club at 7:30 with Cooley and the entire pro agent, culture. But before I even go to that role play, I'm in the car and I'm identifying an agent within Pro Agent who wants to work on their skills, and I'm going to role play objections. I'm going to role play the scenarios, right? And most of this is going to be like for expireds, maybe.
Mainly.
Yeah, mostly they love expired listings, and it's a great lead source. We'll talk more about it, right? And so you're role playing that, and then continue. Then you go into the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, it's like stretching before the warm up set.
Yeah,
pretty much. That's how I see it. So you get some rust off. Then we always try to have a powerful role play, 7:30 to 8, and then boom, hop on the phones, expires all day.
And so you're hopping on the phones like at what, 7:45, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on the dot. Sometimes 8:02 if we're having a good role play and we don't want to stop it on the Breakfast Club. We'll just hop on 5 minutes, sometimes late. Just call the fresh expires from the day and then the day before, and then call till 11 o'clock expires. Then 11 to 11:30, I start doing some follow-ups. Then talk to the people that showed my property previously, some leads that I have, and I do that for about an hour. Then hop into a coaching meeting with you.
So from 8 to 12, it's pretty much outbound communicating, number one, with people who just came off the market as an expired listing. And so these people are in this position where they've either been listed with one agent, maybe 2 agents, maybe 3 agents over a 6 to 12. We've listed some properties that were for sale for 2-3 years with other agents, right? Yeah. And then you're in this position where it's like, I have to get out there and talk to these people because they've been raising their hands saying that they want to sell their home.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest problem most agents have with calling expireds?
They're scared.
They're scared of the
Yeah,
expired.
they're scared of, and they don't know how to handle them. They don't get enough practice, and they just, whenever the sellers or the potential sellers are angry, they just kind of go down and just hang up.
Now, are they really angry at you, or are they angry
No.
at the situation that they're in?
The process. They're angry with the process.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, 50 agents are going to call them that day, and it's a little bit overwhelming. And they're kind of sitting there like, Patrick, if you could sell my property, why didn't you sell it when it was on the market, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of the mindset, I think, sometimes. But mostly in the morning, you're going after the expireds, and that's 8 to 11 locked in. How many contacts are you getting from 8 to 11?
Before, it was like around that 30 to 35, but now I'm getting better. I'm having longer conversations, and it's becoming more 22. That's kind of like where I'm at, 22 contacts before 11. And then I'm calling about 10 follow-ups.
Nice.
10 people that I'm having good conversation, at least 5 minutes plus 10 minutes.
What have you learned about lead follow-up? I know we're kind of going through this regimen, through this schedule, but there's questions start coming to my mind that I know people want to hear about. Like, because a lot of people go, I don't know what to do when I lead follow-up. I don't know what to say. I don't know what it is. And there's probably ways that you did it in the beginning that have changed and have evolved, in a sense, to what they are now.
So in the beginning, I would just kind of be like a robot, ask the questions, ask specific things. But now it's more just having a friendly conversation, trying to make them laugh, be more personable with
I want to
them.
see you make them laugh.
I try.
Patrick's tonality changes when he's on the phone, though.
He gets versatile.
He is versatile.
I think I am.
Yeah. I think so too.
I think he's nicer on the phone.
I think I am.
Oh yeah, he's nicer on the phone for sure. If there's a listing opportunity, if you had a listing opportunity for him, he'd be nicer to you too.
Because he's a driver. He's like a driver in real life, and then on the phone, he's like, he can soften it up for them.
Yeah.
He
A
knows
little
how to
bit.
soften it up.
He has a good tone. He
Yeah.
doesn't come across overwhelming. Like I can come across insanely overwhelming. Somebody like him, he can kind of lower his tone down. I'll lower my tone down, but for him,
he can calm them down. Yeah.
I got you. So, 8 to 11 there, then 11 to 12, I'm in there doing lead follow-up, maybe catching a little bit of lunch, and then what's taking place from there? Yeah.
So I'll hop into a meeting with you, your power hours, the listing presentations, or I'll hop into a listing presentation from like 1 to 2, 2 to 3 or something like that. And then I'll start doing some admin work, sending some documents out, reviewing some documents, reviewing offers, speaking to my clients. That's from 1 to 4. And then from 4:30 to 5, I'm either going on appointments or hopping back on the phones.
Okay. So hopefully they're hearing that. That's what I was waiting for. And so typically, if you do not have listing appointments to go to in the day, it's not a situation in most cases where we're like, all right, I'm hanging my hat. I got enough deals going on right now. I'm happy. Money's going to be coming in, because I could see for a lot of agents, if they got $30,000, $40,000 coming to them in a month, they go, I'll just go and hang out a little bit. And so instead, sometimes you may do that, right? There may be a couple days, right?
But I'll stop at some expires.
Yeah, you'll stop by some expireds. And so typically your mindset is like, hey, from 4 to 6, if I do not have an appointment, I'm going to do some kind of outbound prospecting to finish the day. What do you think, what kind of impact do you think that has on you?
A big impact. People are getting out of work, stuck in traffic, kind of. You're catching them at a good time, I think. A better time than in the morning when they're getting rushed with work.
Yeah, I agree. And there's so many agents that may make a couple calls in the morning, but then they don't in the afternoon, and that's where they're missing the opportunity. Some agents go, I want to prospect only in the afternoons. It's really just the battle of just doing both if you can.
Yeah.
Now, if you're on appointment, you may not be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so in reality, in the sense of going, hey, I want to make sure I'm not only staying where I'm at, but I build more momentum, I have to put that extra layer of prospecting every single day if I have the time.
It's the extra work.
Yeah. So while most agents, if they had any opportunity to create an excuse, they just wouldn't even prospect, right?
No.
But for you, you're going, I got things going on. He may make some contacts before he goes out to that appointment in the afternoon.
Yeah, sometimes I'm calling people on the phone, calling some, follow-ups. I'm like, let me call this person. I don't feel like listening to music. I'll just call somebody and talk to them while I'm driving.
There you go. Which I feel like that's kind of out of your element, but you've kind of trained yourself to be like that, you think?
Exactly.
Because I don't think that's your personality of going, hey, just let me go talk to people. I could see you getting just a nice feeling just based on not having to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? So
and silence is good.
Yeah. Well, I think what happens is that there's this battle of going, I don't know. For most agents who try to prospect, right, they do not know if that time spent is really going to get them anything. But you force this understanding within yourself going like, one conversation could turn into $5,000, $10,000, $15,000.
Yeah.
And that is like, would I be willing to talk to people for 30 minutes on the way to my appointment or on the way home if I knew that one of those conversations really could turn out that big? But most people will have that time frame where they prospect and they don't get that many results because it's the beginning and they're not that good at it yet. So they go, what's the point of really doing those things? But you've really trained yourself to go, hey, like, in reality, that's going to be a benefit in the long run.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm stuck in traffic and I'm just bored, so.
What else is there to do?
Yeah,
Other
right.
than make
Make
some
some money.
appointments. Yeah, make some money.
Tesla, can't wait.
Hopefully.
Full self-drive.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
full self-drive. Just get a driver, guys. Just get a
I
regular driver. Be old school. Give somebody a job. You
I
know,
see Diego just like role playing, and he does, has hands on the wheel, and I'm just like, see, that's the next
That's the
level.
life.
That's the life. That's the life. So, Ashley, you may have a pretty similar day, but I want them to hear it from you. What is the typical Ashley Diep regimen on a daily basis?
So the morning is very routine. So roll out of bed at 4, get in the car by 4:30, get in the gym by 5, work out till 6:20, sauna for 10 minutes. It's like everything is like so pretty much exact, so I don't have to think about anything.
Yes, for sure.
Because I feel like real estate's also an emotional mind sport. So like the more variable you take out of it, I think it's just like smooth it out for the rest
No
of the
doubt.
day.
Well, if you don't do those things consistently, it's like you don't have this rhythm going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
And so pretty much 5 days out of the week, you're pretty much at the gym by 5 in the morning.
Right.
Oof.
So
we already lost half the people. It's fine.
they're gone.
They're like, I don't want
catch
to
up later.
I don't want to, I'll catch up. I don't want to hear anybody do that kind of stuff. And so you're working out. And then what time are you typically getting to the office?
I'll probably be there by 7, and then 7:05, and then I'm role playing in the car, sitting there role playing, and then hopping on the Breakfast Club like by 7:30.
Do you guys ever role play with each other on the way to the Breakfast Club?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're more sparse, but I feel like we get pretty good role plays in.
Good. Well, it's nice because like the fact that both of you guys do that with each other, and then you're both hearing the conversation, it makes it nice because you get to go like two of the people that are 2 years in that I get to see every day are on the same track, and you're doing the same types of things. It's like, it's not rocket science here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you're doing something crazily different that is not duplicatable, and he's doing something different that's not duplicatable. This is super duplicatable. Like, you probably suck at your skills. And so what do you need to do? You need to work on it every day. And so they're going to be spending at least an hour to 2 hours a day working on their skills. The compound interest in that is big. What do you think the role play before the role play has done for you?
I think it's the best because he probably knows what I need to work on because we've role played with each other so much on the Breakfast Club. And he knows that probably that like, well, him too, expressives. Expressives get us like, we get connecting. Like, we know what our weakness is. So then by the time we've already practiced one time, now on the Breakfast Club, it's more intense, but now we get our second practice in to work on our weaknesses.
I love that.
So it's like both.
Do you feel that you're in a position, because sometimes you may role play with people, but they don't take it maybe as serious, or maybe they're not like, the best way to probably say it is they're not cutthroat enough, because a little bit of role play needs a little bit of that cutthroat, like, hey, this is the real deal. Like, this practice needs to be as hard or harder than the reality of the actual call.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like you both do a pretty good job of like being very confrontational or making it as real as possible? Or do you feel like you kind of slide sometimes?
For sure. I think we're more confrontational. Like, we'll stop each other now versus instead of going, like, when someone's going through an emotion of role play, like, you're just going down.
Wasting time.
To the end of it, yeah.
Wasting time. So you're like, I don't have enough time to bullshit. Let me just cut them off and say, hey, start over or do this or that, right?
Yeah, and that's how people get better. Because, I mean, by the time they get to the end of the script, now you don't even remember where they messed up at. Like,
yeah.
you're not,
and typically they wouldn't get to that part of the script if they screw up in the beginning like that.
Yeah.
Right? And so why are we even going to let them go that far if that person would have hung up by now?
Exactly.
Right? That makes sense. And so 7 to 7:30, I'm doing the role play. 7:30 to 8, I'm in the 729 Culture, Cooley, ProAgent Breakfast Club. And then what's happening from there?
Okay, 8 to 11 straight dialing. You're talking to sellers. 11 to 12, it calms down so you can do your follow-up, your admin work, trying to clean things up on your listings if you have to.
Yep.
And then 12 o'clock, we have our power hour and our coaching meetings. Those are really important, right? Because
Yeah, I hope so. I do them.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is I think people like you both get more out of those than some other people, right? Like, there could be people in our own culture, in our own office that still don't get it, right? Like, we can have 40 people on the team here in Houston, and maybe half the room, maybe 20 of those people are really getting it. 15 of those people are really getting it, and they're taking a lot of notes. And one thing I've noticed with you in the last 6 months is that you just write everything down.
Yeah.
So you're constantly writing things down because it's so easy for us to get things. We have these really great conversations, whether it's a coaching meeting, some kind of a sales training, and then you see agents that are like, they may write it down, they may not write it down, but they're not working on it like you guys would work on it afterwards, right? And it's really like, the information is great. It's good to hear, and it sounds good. However, we have to really put it into action. And so I just always see you writing those notes down. And there's a lot of agents in the office that are like that. They just write everything down. Those are the ones that are growing the most, because there's something about listening to it, having that conversation, writing it out, going over it later. It makes a big difference. So your morning is very jam-packed with, hey, I'm talking to as many people as possible. Now, I know for him, he's an expired freak, so he's just going to call expireds. Are you only typically calling expires, or are you doing anything else in the morning?
I've actually started just with only expireds now.
Okay.
I know that I'll throw in some for sale by owners, but when you're not as consistent, it's going to show in your confidence. And when for sale by owners, I feel like it's all confidence. Like hearing you do it, it's like you're not convincing them as much as expired is. It's just like how you come off.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a pretty good podcast with.
With Robert, yes.
Yeah, about for sale by owners.
Yeah. It'll be great. And I think that for sale by owners is a missing link for a lot of agents. However, the nice thing is somebody can go, oh, I'm trying to get business from here, and here. And both of you could probably get 90% of your sales this year, 40 or more transactions, right? Just from almost expired, it's like 90% of them, right? Mm-hmm. And then maybe 10% COI, I'm guessing?
Yeah, COI, circle prospecting from those expired listings, from our listings,
And so the thought process for you is more like, hey, I probably should call some for sale by owners. However, I know there's some new skills involved, some things that I need to do to master that. And right now in my business, I can just keep going back to what's feeding me very well, which is going to be the expireds, right? Okay, that sounds good. And then you're going to a sales meeting. What does your after 1 o'clock typically look like?
Like 1 o'clock, if we're not eating, we'll do the listing presentation. Yeah. And the listing presentation is just as important, right? Because when I'm role playing in the morning, now whenever, let's say if like someone calls me in the middle of the day, I'll just like, my brain automatically switches to the like expired script because I know exactly what I'm going to say. And I don't really have to think about it. Yeah. Now, like with the listing presentation, if it's not as ingrained in my head, like I'm not as ready I can't just roll off my tongue at a presentation. So
that's right. And then the conversion rate goes down. And then you go like, oh my gosh, I just hunted for this opportunity. But then because I didn't prepare for it, now I'm in this position where I may go on 10 appointments and I may get 3 when I can go out there and get 7 or 8 if I just work on it every day. And the difference between that, if my average deal is $7,500, let's say if the average deal is $7,500, you multiply that by 4 or 5 appointments where you got the listing, it's costing you $35,000 to not get the listing. You know what I mean? By not getting those deals going on. So working on that listing presentation, is that something, because I know I've been pushing you on this a lot.
For sure.
That's something that you feel like is outside of just making the calls, working on the expired lead generation skill, the listing presentation is very vital for you right now?
Yeah. Now just do it. Like, okay, all right, meeting's over. Let's just do it.
Was there fear about doing it, or what was your biggest thing?
It wasn't fear.
Being lazy?
It was laziness because we have to get ready for it. Like, you gotta print out the comps. Now you gotta know why you're printing out those comps, and you have to be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. Yeah, it's gonna take effort. I have to do some thinking.
For sure. Well, that's why I try to tell most agents, like, take your last 5 presentations you went on and just have all that information that you took out on those and give your role play partner that scenario, and now you're good to go. Yeah. But what happens sometimes, we're running comps, we're printing stuff out. Next time, just print out a duplicate packet and just put a duplicate packet together and then go, hey, Patrick, today at 2 o'clock, let's role play. Here's a scenario. Let's make it happen. You know what I mean? And it makes a big difference. And so you're going to do the role play of the listing presentation. You're going to probably do some, I'm guessing, like admin work. I know you did some maybe between like 11:30 and that time frame, calling some people back if you need to. Are you doing any admin type duties in the afternoon a little bit?
I do, because usually whenever agents do wake up late, so then by the time they're calling you about listings and things under contract, they're calling you later in the day. Yeah. So you got to figure that out, smooth things over, make sure everything's on track for closing. And then back on the phones.
Powerful. And so you're usually back on the phones at what time? If you don't have a presentation.
If I don't have, if I don't have a
presentation. Are you that crazy? You're like, sorry, I'm going to be prospecting while I'm on this listing presentation now.
Oh, like, sorry, I have to take this call.
Yeah. But if you're not at a presentation, you're going to be prospecting in most cases?
Probably from 4 to 6.
Okay, from 4 to 6. Both of you having that very similar regimen, how much of it is mindset in terms of you going, this repetitious boredom could drive a lot of people crazy if they don't start having the right results with it, right?
Yeah.
And so how have you both, I'll let Ashley go first, how have you sold yourself so much on going, you know what, like I'm going to continue doing the lead generating in the afternoon if I don't have appointments, when it's very easy to maybe go and escape?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, after a long time, like after 1 year, 2 year, you don't have to sell yourself on it as much. Now you're just like, okay, just do it. Just do it.
That's gold. Because in the beginning, you have to sell yourself on a little bit.
Yeah, you have to fight, and you're fighting in your head, like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm tired. And like, let me just go get an energy drink really quick.
Yeah.
And then most of the fighting's in the head, but now you don't have to. The energy just comes. You're like, all right, let's just do it.
Let's make it happen. The same thing for you?
Yeah, you realize like the days that you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing, those are your lowest production month. Like February,
Yeah.
I stopped going to the gym in the morning. I only took 1 listing that month.
Oh,
Was it
man.
February?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the rest.
How many
with-
listings would you have took if you didn't do that?
Exactly.
Think about it.
The world may
Maybe
never
another
know.
5. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
So it's just like I have to.
How many typical, because this is going to scare people, but it's really not that crazy, I don't think. And you guys have kind of showcased that to me a lot. Typically in a month, how many people are you talking to?
We said it's like 800.
At least like 800 plus, 700 plus.
I know
So-
you're pushing us to do 1,000.
Yeah, pushing 1,000 is big. There's some people here in the office that are going to do close to 1,000, I think, this
Sure.
month. And so typically at least at least you're talking to 200 people a week, right? Like pretty consistently,
Yeah.
right? Was there any periods of time that maybe you weren't getting the success that you two were having, but you were also making way less contacts? Like, what were you, like, what was going on? Was there ever a time when you were like maybe making 150 contacts? Or do you feel like I've been doing around 200 every single week since the beginning?
I feel like also whenever you're having to like save deals, those contacts go way down, and then you're just like, oh shoot, I have no leads.
Yeah.
Like a week later, and then everything hits, and you're like, oh, I have no hot leads right now.
And then you got to bounce back and hit more contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a way where okay, that's why it's important from like 8 to 12. I don't worry about anything else
Yeah.
until I finish that.
So if people are calling you, anything like that, it's like, hey, your clients know that from 8 to 12, I'm on the phone looking for buyers for your property or listings for my buyers. I'm focused, and don't bother me. We'll get together afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to set the tone.
Oh, the voicemail. Let's just get the voicemail.
Leave a voicemail, leave a
Yeah.
voicemail and make that happen. And so, overall, if we look back over the last 12 months, is it about 200 contacts a week from both of you, you think?
Yeah. Sometimes more.
Sometimes more, for sure. And I think this is something that's very powerful for people to understand. We talk to agents all the time, and they're talking about, hey, well, like I want to set X amount of appointments a week or X amount of appointments a month, and they think that appointments, like every time they set an appointment, that appointment means that they're gonna actually get to go and do a presentation. They're actually gonna get to meet with that seller. So I'll go, hey, how many appointments do you want to be going on a month? And then they're like, oh, I'd like to go on 8 a month. Okay, well, in order to go on 8, how many appointments do you need to set? And sometimes they're sitting there going, we got Max in the building. Sometimes we're sitting there and they're
Our
going,
mascot.
hey, look at Max with the cameo, dude. But sometimes people are going, hey, I want to go on 8 appointments in a month. And you go, well, how many appointments do you think you need to set in order to go on those 8? And a lot of times they're like, what do you mean? Maybe 8. But that's nowhere near reality.
Maybe
right?
24.
Yeah, maybe 24. How many appointments do you actually need to set, Patrick, in order to typically go on one?
For me, I feel like it's a lot different. I need to set 6 to at least go on one.
So you need to set 6 to
Yeah,
go on one.
it's a lot more.
It's a lot more. Now, do you think that's kind of changed at times? Because maybe some months it's like the market is moving a certain way, and the market in some areas doesn't know what it wants to do. Mm-hmm. Some areas, like there's multiple offers. Some areas there's a little bit more competition in the marketplace and less offers. Sellers are doing things a certain way, but right now you feel it's at 6 appointments set to go on one. Now, a lot of people may think that that's very maybe they feel like that would be overwhelming. You got to set 6 appointments to go on one. How could you kind of help them go through that process of why you're willing to commit to that?
Because I know for every one that I go, I'm at a 75% conversion rate right now. So it's just I know I go to 3, I'll take 2 at least.
Oh yeah.
So
And then on average, that could be,
A good amount.
yeah, 5, 8, 10 grand, maybe more, right? And so on a monthly basis, what is your typical goal for how many appointments you want to set?
I go for 2 a day, but some days I don't. Obviously, it's
So it's
sometimes
always between 1 and 2 a day?
Yeah.
And
1
how
to 2
many
a day.
days in a month are you typically going to work? Is it 20? Is it 22?
24.
24?
Yeah. Right. Recently, it's been going shorter and shorter because the baby's on the way and stuff like that. Like next month's probably not going to be the best. I got a lot of doctors.
You need to get 1,400 contacts this month, Ashley.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
I'm holding you to it.
Yeah, to catch up to it.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. But
Next month is not.
no, but like the baby shower,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
doctor's
Gotta
appointments.
prep for it. Gotta
Oh
prep.
yeah, she's like, no, I need my time with you. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to these appointments by myself, these doctor's appointments by myself. And so in a month, is that pretty much like you're somewhere around that like 35 appointments set?
Yeah, I think January, March, it was around like that 30 to 35. I think 33 around that area of appointments set because I only work around like 24, 25 days.
Yeah. Now for you, what is your ratio right now?
I'll typically go on like every 3 appointments I set. My strategy is a little bit different. That I feel like than Patrick, because I'll go on it even if I know I won't potentially get it signed, just so I have a fair chance in the future.
Okay.
To a point where maybe I could be using that time to find another appointment. But as of right now, I like to set myself up for right now. I'll just do it right now, and to the point where I'm like, I cannot go on anymore. I don't have any time to go on.
Or you have a better one.
Yeah, or I have a better one, right? If I have a better one.
I guess that's really the idea here. If you don't have any other appointment to go on, let's say you talk to the person, you're pre-qualifying them, and maybe you're kind of like less than 50-50. You're like, maybe there's a 30% chance I get this, 20% chance I get this, but I have no other appointments today. You'll still go on that appointment.
I'll still go on it because I've had a lot of people call me back like, hey, we're ready to list now.
And it's
I'm
been a
like,
month
all
later,
right.
2 months later, 3 months
Yeah,
later.
it could even be like 6 months later, but like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when Max was in here right now, and then his father, Alex, he's very good at going on appointments, and he'll get a lot of them signed. But there's a ton of people that will call him back 2 months later, 3 months later, 6 months later, because he made that connection. And maybe they wouldn't have called most of their agents back. But if you don't go on that appointment, you don't know what could have been. And maybe in the future, you're not going to have the time to do those things. But I also think it's helping you with your presentation. It's helping you maybe build some rapport for long term if they want to do some deals with you. Maybe it's just not a good time for them to sell.
Right.
Right? What's usually like the thing where you're like, I know I'm not going to go on this appointment. Like I pre-qualified them, I talk to them, I go on a lot of them, even if I shouldn't. What are the things that you're hearing when you're like, nah, this one ain't for me. This ain't mine, son.
I like the motivate. Like if you have motivation, I'll most likely go. But if it's like 50, 100 grand overpriced, I won't do it. But if you're really motivated and maybe it's like around that 40, 50 or overpriced, I'll still go just to see like if I can get them down on price. And sometimes they go down. Sometimes
For
they go
sure.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, if they can gain the correct perspective and they have enough equity or they have the money to bring to the table, because sometimes that has to be the case, right? And it makes sense. They're going to make that adjustment. And maybe they just didn't have an agent who, in a professional way, presented the information correctly. So many agents are going out there going, oh, yeah, you can get $450 for the house. And then they're sitting there for 6 months going, I know I should get $450 because the agent's been telling me that. Then Ashley comes in and she's like, it's going to be $375.
I'm sorry. I don't play those high.
360.
What is your your conversion rate right now? I know it's going to be lower than his because you're going on some appointments that maybe you even know you shouldn't go on.
Yeah.
And maybe you have a little bit of time right now in your business, even though you're on track to do 40 or more to do that. In the future, it's really not going to be the case. You're not going to have time to do those things. And so like, even with that being the scenario that like some of these people are going on, if you go on 3, are you typically getting 1? Are you typically getting 2? What is kind of the ratio for you?
Around 3, I'm getting 1.
Okay.
So 3 to 4, one out of 3 to 4 for sure.
Okay. And so there may be times where you're at a 50% conversion rate or less on these listing appointments for the most part. Like
Sometimes some weeks I'm like 1 of 4, I get 3 out of 4, and then
that's what I mean, right?
yeah.
Because they hear that and they go, oh man, 1 out of 4 is 25% ratio. But then the
Yeah.
next 4, you may get 3 or 4 out of the 4.
Exactly.
Right? And how many appointments are you setting on a monthly basis right now?
I want to say around that like 30-ish, 20 to 30 mark. Yeah.
Okay. But closer
least
to
once-
30 for sure then. Okay, cool. And then that's turning into how many presentations? Are you going on 10 presentations if you set 30, pretty much?
Like 3 a week.
Oh, yeah.
3 weeks.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so you're anywhere from 10 to 12.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And so what do you guys think is the difference? Like these people, because these guys are like mastering expired listings here. They're getting 40 plus transactions this year from mastering this process, right? And so what are the sellers noticing with you both? And I'll let you, Patrick, answer first. That is getting them to connect with you in a way where they're working with you, because they're getting called by many agents. People are probably going to the door. People are sending them mail. People are sending them emails. There's just so much things and people getting in front of these expired sellers. What's the difference between you? What's so special about Patrick?
Whenever I follow up, I think I'm pretty relatable, personable.
Yeah. So the follow-up, how many times would you say, if you're doing lead follow-up, typically how many conversations are happening before you even meet with them?
So if I said, like, let's say I have an appointment this morning, I'll call him later tonight, make sure he got the email. I like to set my appointments not for the exact same day, but at least the day before. If I try to do that, I'll call them in the morning.
The day before, you mean the day after?
I mean the day after. Yeah.
He's so far to the future, actually. He's like, I already set this yesterday. So
My bad.
I'm kidding.
I'll call them in the morning, ask questions that like I kind of missed, but not like a robot. I feel like I try to talk to them.
You're showing them that you're working on it. I'm already working on this for you, right? You know what I mean?
And then I'll usually just call them like an hour ahead, or I'll shoot them a text an hour ahead, depending on how I feel the conversations are. If they're tech savvy, I'll text them. But if not, I'll just shoot them a call. Hey, I'm on my way. Is that cool? And I'll just head to the appointment.
And so talking to them a few times before going out
Makes it so much easier.
Yeah, because what do we see? We see agents come in the office, or agents that prospect, and they set that appointment today. The appointment's 2 days from now. They never talk to them one time.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how they get ghosted, right? That's how they're going to get forgot about.
What I really hate is when they pick them, they're like, "Who are you again?" I'm like, "Oh no!" Like,
you didn't do your job.
I did not do my job.
I did not do my job. What do you think it is for you?
I like it whenever they're like, when they go from skeptical and they're like, "Oh, what do you think? Like, what do you think probably happened to my house?" And they're like, "Okay, now they're probably getting bought. Like, you know that I'll get the job done."
No doubt, they respect your opinion. And so, do you think that is it this? Because I think that sometimes the people that are going to watch this, the agents who are trying to grow their business, go, I have to have some spectacular listing presentation. It's all about like how things look on the pieces of paper that I bring over there. I believe it's way more of like following a canned presentation and being the authority in the conversation. We're going from A to Z in this conversation, so we're wrapping it up. And the simplicity of just following the regimen when you're meeting with them, like the whole process of like, I had set an appointment with them. This is what I'm going to do between setting the appointment and meeting with them. I met with them. I go through that process. There's a high probability they sign a contract with me. I think because the previous agent probably just didn't even do those things professional enough. Like what do you think's happening with the agent who listed these properties before? Like you're listing them, you're getting the price reductions, you're getting it on the market, you're getting it sold. What do you think these agents are kind of doing wrong? Why that makes you guys look so professional and why you guys are getting the ones, you're the ones getting hired, right?
I think they're, honestly, I don't think they're the one that they're not. I think they're too scared to tell them it's like
Uneducated.
the price. Yeah. They're too scared to tell them like, hey, it is a price and this is a reason why, instead of, hey, it is a price like 4 months later, like maybe a month, 2 months later, they're like, hey, it's a price. But hey, you kind of like lost your chance to tell me it's a price. You didn't.
I mention this often. When I would list for sale by owners that were previously expired, the person's thought process would go, my last agent didn't do anything. I never heard from them, right? I could have done what they did. They just put the sign in the yard, put the home on the MLS, right? And when it came to them asking me 2 months into the contract to drop my price, I felt like that was the only thing that they were doing. Mm-hmm. And some of these people would tell me I would drop my price, but I wouldn't drop it with them being my agent because I didn't feel like they deserved the commission. If all they were going to do is ask me for that price reduction 2-3 months in, it's like, what's really been going on? And so you guys being honest with them from the very get-go kind of puts them in this position where they're like, of course Ashley wants to list my home and make the most money for herself, just like she would want for me, but she's willing to kind of be confrontational about this price. And now you're asking questions. You're not just sitting there just telling prices, telling things. You guys follow a presentation where you feel like most of the time that people are coming up with the price that you thought about before you actually have to tell them your price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? Is that kind of like, has that been something that you've had to work on? Because maybe in the beginning you go to presentation and like they're like, well, Ashley, what do you think the home is worth? And you're sitting there like, here's a price. Now it's like the way you showcase the information, they're kind of coming up with the right price themselves, right?
Yeah, now it's like, well, let's look at this again together. Just showing with this property, with these selling at this price, what do you think you would offer for this for your own property at this point? And then at least you get them to say or come up with it, because it's too easy to say something and then they just object because it's not coming from them.
Yeah. I agree. It's getting people to like get that aha moment comes from us asking them questions. It never comes from us telling them what to think. That telling aspect of just going on and on and on about why you're never going to get a price or why they think, because sometimes an agent may go over there and go, this is why you can get the price that you want. And then they start thinking that they have to like agree with the seller in order to get the deal and get the contract signed. And then 6 months later, the property expires, and then Patrick and Ashley, are going to end up calling. Now, have y'all both been in situations where you've battled out for the appointments together at all?
I don't think so.
We haven't been on like a same appointment. I don't think
so.
I've been a couple.
I think we set the same appointments, but I probably never gone on them.
Well, what a beautiful lead source, especially in our market where there is enough expireds, and there's usually going to be enough expireds in your marketplace or terminated listings in your marketplace as well, where two agents, and like you guys are just two out of the 40 people we have, and they're taking a lot of listings as well. Most people would go, oh my gosh, you guys are calling some of the same people, but you're going on separate appointments, you're converting the deals. There's actually like such a bountiful amount of opportunities there to where it's not like these two agents who are in the same marketplace are going on the same appointments each and every single day, which is kind of cool.
It's kind of crazy because we're calling the same list. We're in there like 4 or 5 hours a day calling expireds. And I only think we maybe like call each other setting an appointment with the same person maybe once or twice.
That's crazy.
A few times, maybe.
Y'all need to do better then. Do better. I'm gonna find the negative in there. Like you both just need to work on your skills.
But it's probably like our personality types,
It could be the case.
Oh, that's true. Connecting with different people.
So be more versatile in the future so you can have more competition.
Be less analytical.
But also it's just like there's so many, I remember I was talking to MJ one time and, all the deals she had done like in 2023, I believe, a lot of the expireds came from 1 month. Like they were just 1 month. She just kept on calling back that list. And these agents will go from month to month to month to month to month. I'm just like going everywhere. But there's really enough opportunity in just one list. Yeah. Right? Oh, there's 800 people in this list? Okay, go talk to as many of them as possible. And, have you ever done any deals from any wrong numbers? No, I don't. Have you done any wrong number deals?
I've gotten leads, but they haven't came through.
Yeah, I bring that up because so many times agents, a lot of times the numbers are wrong. We can usually find the right number within the set that we find, or like the data sets. However, there is a lot of agents in the office that will take listings or find buyer deals out of calling somebody and it wasn't even them, right? And it just shows you that those people are working on their skills as well. So, Patrick, what do you think, like, if you had to break this down for an agent, whether they've been in the business for 2 years like yourself, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever the case is, and they want to get on track to close 4 or 5 deals a month, right? What do you think has been some of the top items that have really shifted this and built that momentum to where you're on track to do what you're doing?
Consistency. Just doing things that people don't want to do. So going at somebody's door, doing that, just continue doing what you're doing. Eventually it'll come. Mm-hmm.
So the consistency and let's elaborate on that a little bit more real quick. So what happens when you're trying to be consistent, but the mindset's off? Like, what do you think is, because I think that's the major problem here with most agents, they don't have the mindset. What do you think is so special about Patrick's mindset?
I think I just grew up an athlete. So it's just like consistency. And I think like my story coming, high school, college, and then going overseas and stuff, I think it was like just being consistent, even though there was nothing. There was days that like, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I would still go out and practice just in case, Yeah,
that discipline muscle.
Yeah. So right. I think I just learned that over time, and it's just natural to me now.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you think you have right now in your business that are your biggest resources? Like, is it some of the people around you that have an Ashley going, hey, she's doing deals, so you're like, I got to get after this thing too? Or like, what would you think of as like your major resources?
I mean, you guys. I mean, Ashley, Jose, you, Yolanda, Cooley. I mean, you guys are all super helpful for me. Andrew too. Any question I have, boom, go to you guys. Anything that I need, just go to y'all. I think that's probably like the best thing ever.
Hell yeah, man. For you, what do you think, like, you know, when you're talking about Ashley Diep on track to close 40 or more transactions, what are the biggest thing? Like, what's the biggest reason? If somebody's listening to Ashley and they're going like, how the hell is this lady doing this? What's the advice you'd be giving them?
I think you should surround yourself with high performing people.
Powerful.
Now you're always, you don't want to compare yourself to people who aren't doing anything, right?
Yeah.
And what's the comparison? Now you're going to be pulled down to that level. So I'm always like trying to find people that are willing to do the crazy things. So it's not crazy anymore once everyone's doing it. Then we find the next crazy thing.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do that. We're going to complete that. We're going to achieve that. And then, next year it's not going to be 40 deals. It's going to be who's the first one 100. That's going to be crazy. Yeah.
That is going to be crazy. Does that even seem like fathomable right now for you?
100? That's a lot. I feel like 100 is a lot, but I mean, people
Do you
are
feel like
doing
you can
it.
handle 100 right now? Do you feel like there's enough time in the day?
No, I need more systems. I got
some more
more
systems.
systems. Right now, I can see the bottleneck is my systems.
Yeah, so we got to work on some systems for both of you to kind of leverage. But what's cool is like when she's talking about systems, she's not sitting there like, I want to have somebody prospect for me. I want to have somebody do all the work for me when it comes to like going on an appointment or any of that kind of shit. It's really more so like, I need somebody to do maybe the $10 an hour work so that I can go out there like, what would you do? Let's say you have the systems in place. So now you have more time. You have more time for presentations and you have more time for like lead generating.
Yeah.
So do you see yourself as somebody going, hey, I just watch so many agents that just want to get out of like the trenches of lead generating, but the top agents that are doing 40, 60, 100 deals a year, they're in the trenches and they're lead generating and they find people to put in position so they can lead generate more while 99% of everybody else is looking to never have to lead generate. So if you have systems in place that gives you back, let's say, how many hours back a day do you think you need?
I would say at least 2 hours, but 2 hours is actually a lot of time. Like more than you would even know.
For sure, because you go, well, 2 hours. What would you spend those 2 hours doing?
2 hours, we can still be, I can hit at least 20 more contacts.
It's 20 more contacts, right?
That's 2 more appointments.
And so I love that you said the 2 hours is actually a big thing because the 2 hours, you're going to work typically 5 days a week or 6 days? What are you typically working?
Yeah, 5 days and the 6 days usually for more like open houses, more going on appointments because a lot of sellers can't,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But that 5 days a week, 2 extra hours, that's 10 hours, 40 hours a month. Isn't that what it is or no?
10
Yeah.
hours.
That's 40 hours a month.
If I can get a car to drive for me while I'm doing this, that's 2 more hours.
That's 2 more hours, right?
That's
And she
4
drives a motorcycle
hours.
sometimes. So can you imagine somebody's driving the motorcycle for her, and then she has an iPad on the back of their backpack, and then she's just in there calling.
It's gonna be my helmet.
Yeah. So I was making sure I had my numbers right because I'm like 2 hours times 5 days. Yeah, it's
10
freaking
that's
hours.
40,
That's
yeah.
literally an extra week. So what you're trying to do right now is going, hey, I'm going to do these amount of transactions. In this process of me doing these, I'm going to find a way how to systematize a little bit better so that I can gain back pretty much a full work week on a monthly basis. And instead of wasting that on BS, I'm going to actually spend my time going on more appointments and making more contacts so I can go on more presentations. And then that's effectively how we're going to get you to 100.
Yeah.
Right? Because we need to find a way to make more time. And most agents could be very cheap. And like you were even talking about this earlier with me off the camera, where it was like, I need to have more systems and pay for people to kind of do some of the things so I can lead generate more, but I'm too cheap. But now we got to take that out of our vocabulary
Seriously.
because in reality, we're losing a ton of money because you prospecting for even 20 hours out of those extra 40 hours is going to turn into probably an extra $10,000, $15,000 a month or more. And so why wouldn't I pay somebody to do some of these other things that are kind of like the $10, $15 an hour items?
Why don't I?
Yeah. Well, after this, we're going to make those things happen.
I think another thing is, you said it a long time ago, raising your expenses. Like, fuck, I got to do this. I got to make some money. So.
How have you done that? Because I know, before he even answers it, let me say this. Some people do not agree with me on this, and they'll go, you got to be very frugal, and I understand being very frugal. I personally know for me, my first real estate coach asked me what I was driving. And this is not somebody who drives super lavish cars. This is not some guy that's going crazy doing all that kind of stuff. But he asked me like, what I was driving, and I was driving a Cadillac CTS, and it was like, I think $400 a month. And he said, what do you like really want to drive? And I told him what I wanted to drive. And I probably mentioned him before. So he had a little bit of stuff, a little juice to kind of squeeze out of me on it.
Leverage out of you.
Yeah, I was like, I already kind of want to do that. And then he got me to do it. And then my payment went from $450 to like $1,300. Right. And so, but I'm the kind of person, I'm not going to not pay a bill. And so I realized at that point, hey, you know what? For me, it really works when I actually increase my bills because I'm going to make sure I pay them and, of course, and some. Yeah. And so might as well raise the standard of the way I'm living to get to that. Some people don't work like that. How did it work for you?
I think it worked a lot. You know, I first bought a car.
He bought a new car, so he got rid of the old car. And that car was. How did it feel? Okay, yes. His last car. Did you have to park about 2 blocks away from the house? Did you ever feel like that at all, or no?
Yeah, on some appointments.
Was it bad? I remember it being bad.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't the best.
It wasn't the prettiest.
I think but I could tell because like when somebody gets out of their car, you can tell if they have confidence about their car. And I always, and then after a couple times of saying go get a new car. He pulls up one day in a brand new, and you didn't buy anything extravagant, but it was brand new. And what did it make you feel like?
It felt good because, I mean, it was quiet. I could actually hear myself. so there's that.
You could prospect in your car now on the way to an appointment because you couldn't.
So that changed a lot too. I could prospect in car before I would, but I would have to put my actual headset, the silence one, to silence the outside noise.
Yeah, he sounded like he was getting ready for Fast and the Furious, but like the ghetto edition before, right? Which is cool. It's like those are the things you remember, right? You're like, man, I remember there's gonna be somebody in the office like, guys, when I started prospecting, I was showing up to appointments in a beater, and then I went and like made some money, and then on the way to making more money, I said, you know what, I need to upgrade, I need to get a car, right? And also, like he said something so vital right now, where it's like, I have to. There's no option now. Like, guys, if you want to be in a position where you have to do the prospecting in the morning, you have to do the prospecting at night, you have to go on appointments, you have to do all the skill work, you're part of these sales trainings. If you want to force yourself to do those things, you need to find out like, what am I in the mercy of right now that's giving me this opportunity to not have to do those things, right? Because there's too many agents. Like I'll see them, I call them like habitual lab coat agent posters. Where are top producers getting their deals from? What are the best lead sources? What is this? What is that? And they get real valid answers. But then 2 weeks later, they're asking the same questions and they're looking for something easy. What comes to my mind is like, man, who's paying that person's bills? Like this person has kids, this person has this and that. Like, are they somehow in a position where they get to survive and somewhat thrive a little bit without even having to do any work? Because when you're the one that actually has to pay the bills and you're the one that's responsible for upgrading the lifestyle of the family and the soon-to-be growing family now, right? Yeah. It's like there's nobody that's going to come in and save the day for you. And so what you're talking about is setting yourself up to be in a position where I have to do the work. And so many agents, they just don't have to do the work. Doesn't mean they're living the life they want to live, but maybe they're relying on the spouse's income a little bit. Maybe they're relying on their parents. Like something's going on where they don't have to do it. And for you've been in that position where it's like, I'm just going to force it. Now for Ashley, you've owned a house for how many years now?
I think it's going on like 4.
You bought a house like really young, right? How old are you right now?
I'm 30.
You're 30? And so you bought a house at 26?
Around 25 or 26,
25 or 26? Like when you hear him talking like, have you upgraded things? Like, are you of that same belief? Or do you feel like you're more like, no, I'd rather just conserve and save as much as possible? Or do you kind of like, I'm going to spend some money on some
I've been
things?
starting to spend a lot more lately. Like, okay, let's start spending for, things that would increase my business. Like maybe people who can just like post stuff for me, things that I can delegate.
Yeah.
I feel like it adds up. If you're really looking at it, it adds up. But like if you could just cover it, you're going to grow. You're going to compound in the long run.
I agree. As long as you know that you're going to do the work to pay the people, why not do it, right? And I think what's really nice about the way we've set this up and the fact that you guys have bought into the strategies that Yolanda and I have been pushing out for so long is like, man, well, you're really in a very profitable position, especially since you're in the process of scaling your listing business so much, where you're not over there buying Zillow. Like these guys are not sitting here paying $5,000, $10,000 a month for Zillow leads. Mm-hmm. Like there's people I know that are going to close 40 deals this year, but they're paying Zillow $10,000 a month. Like could you guys even imagine like spending money like that? Because your overall monthly expense, how much are your monthly expenses right now on like how much you guys are paying for leads?
Zero.
Doesn't that feel nice? Like, I don't even think they think about it that much.
I never thought.
Right?
I'm like, pay for leads.
Yeah, pay for leads. We provide the data for you. We pay for the data for you, and you literally mine the data. You hunt through the data, and you just have genuine conversations with people, and then you go and do that, because in most days you may be talking to, 45, 50 people.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way you cannot do business long term, right? And so as we wrap this up, Patrick, what is some more gold nuggets that you'd give for somebody who's like in this position where they are going, hey, I did 5 deals last year, and I need to get my ass to 30 to 40 transactions. What's the one-liner that we can give them as we head out of here?
It's probably like, if you think you're doing a lot, you're not doing enough. I think I heard that this morning actually, and that stuck with me. That stuck with me hard. So I think that's really it, because if you're only doing 5, there's somebody doing 40, and if you're doing 40, somebody's doing 100, and then
Keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
Yeah. So you're gonna be finding out for yourself. It's like what you're doing may not always be enough sometimes.
Yeah.
To get you where you want to be.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, Ashley?
You can run away from your problems by packing a bag, or you can run away from your problems by staying in the exact same position you are now.
Dang, let's hear you repeat that real quick. I want to hear that again. I want to hear that again because I know it's really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, but I want to hear it good because he'll cut that shit out.
You can run away from your problems by packing a bag, or you can run away from your problems by staying exactly where you are.
Damn. What does that mean for you?
For me, it's like, hey, you can ignore the problems you have and just do nothing about it, or you can ignore the problems and go somewhere else, but the problem's gonna still be there by the end of the day.
That's powerful. Well, we're going to get you back on here both in a couple months. We'll see how the road is coming, how the journey is coming along probably around that 6-month mark of the year. We'll talk about the closings. We'll talk about what's the current inventory, the pendings, what you guys have learned from today up to that point. And what I'm going to make sure we do next time is I'm going to find out what questions do people have in our own, culture and pro agent, co-founders, and any agents across like any of my platforms that they'd want to ask. And what we'll do is we'll finish the last 10, 15, 20 minutes and we'll break down those questions, or we'll give you guys those questions from them. And then we'll see what those answers look like, and we'll see if they take the advice. Okay?
Alrighty.
Thank you both. Appreciate it.